chances are that currently you feel lazy, tired, and unmotivated. It seems that no matter what, you can get yourself moving because couch, a pack of Cheetos, and new Netflix series feels better than doing things that you need to do in your life. Well, if you relate to this, then stick to the end of this video because I'm going to share with you 3 powerful ideas that will help you get back into that motivated state from which action towards your goals seems to flow easily and naturally. You see, a lot of people get the whole motivation thing backwards. We hear these motivational speakers screaming at us, you have to force yourself, you have to push hard, you have to do it no matter what. And hey, I'm not saying that pushing hard to achieve your goals is a bad thing, but what a lot of people miss is that there's an even better way to motivate yourself, even better than forcing yourself and whipping yourself until you start doing the thing you need to do. So before telling you the secrets of endless motivation, you need to understand that there are 2 different types of motivation, extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. And why is it so important for you to understand these different types of motivation? Well, you see, 9 times out of 10, the cause of feeling tired and unmotivated is extrinsic motivation. So you might ask, what's that extrinsic motivation and why it causes so much chaos in my life? Extrinsic motivation is when you do something because of some external promise or reward. Let me explain. For example, you see a Tesla down the street. You start dreaming about how nice it would be to have one of these in your life. You imagine how other people will look at you, how other people will react when you'll pull up in that new Tesla. So you make a decision and say to yourself, I'm going to buy a Tesla. It's worth it because not only I'm going to have an amazing car, but also other people will look at me and think how cool I am to own this amazing car. But then comes the day of your paycheck and you see that with this kind of money, the only car you can buy is the old Chevy from your Uncle Steve. So you say to yourself, okay, this is not going to be that easy. So you decide to work harder to increase your paycheck. In the first 2 weeks, you notice yourself accomplishing more than usual. You think to yourself, finally, I have clarity and focus in my life. And you find yourself feeling energized to work and you feel more productive than ever before. But after those few weeks, you feel that initial burst of motivation is starting to fizzle out until one day it's even hard to get up from bed in the morning. Where did all that motivation go? You see, because you were motivated by extrinsic motivation, or in other words, by external reward, which was a Tesla and other people's recognition, your motivation quickly died out because the only reason you did the work is to get that external reward. And you might think, so now you're saying that I have to give up all materialistic goals and become a hippie? No, I'm not saying that. You see, the problem with this external goal is once you saw that Tesla is not going to be in your garage in a few months, your motivation dropped and you noticed yourself being less and less excited to work hard. And this is the biggest problem with extrinsic motivation. That initial spike of energy quickly fizzles out, and after that, you have to push hard and force yourself to do the hard work. And the thing is that there are only 1% of people who can push through with that hard work and determination. And in the end, they still find themselves miserable because they only focus on the goal and miss the enjoyment of the process. But what if you're not that type of determined person? Doesn't mean you're never going to get that Tesla in your life? Well, no. Remember I mentioned at the start of the video that there's an easier way to motivate yourself without this hard torture of whipping yourself into action. So that's where intrinsic motivation comes in. This is the type of motivation that the most successful people in our culture are motivated by. This type of motivation keeps Elon Musk working hard on SpaceX rockets despite uncertainty about the goal and despite huge failures. So let's start by defining intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is a steady stream of motivation that comes from within. And what I mean by that is when you're intrinsically motivated by something, you genuinely want to do that thing because motivation comes from within, not from the outside rewards like money, cars, or recognition. And you might say, but wait, I want that Tesla. I genuinely want to have it in my my life. That desire comes from within. Well, not entirely. The key difference here is that when you're intrinsically motivated, you're doing the thing at hand for the sake of doing it. You do it because you genuinely enjoy doing it. And you might ask, but what if I don't enjoy doing my job? How can I be motivated to work hard? And that's where the problem comes in. You can't have a constant stream of motivation if you're not enjoying what you do. And of course, a lot of people will disagree and say, no, you can't be motivated if there's a life and death situation in your life. And yes, there are some instances in life when you can be extremely motivated because you feel that your survival is at stake, and if you're not going to do that thing, the consequences will be too great to bear. I think that you already experienced this scenario in your life. You probably had to do some assignment for school, but because you felt too lazy, you said to yourself, I can easily do it tomorrow. And after enough of these tomorrows, there came a day when the assignment actually had to be delivered tomorrow. And there you instantly had an extreme motivation to complete the task at hand. But you see, there's a big problem with this type of motivation, because when you solve a problem that is extremely threatening and reach the equilibrium of comfort, all that motivation vanishes and you find yourself binge watching new Netflix series, thinking where's that motivation which kept you working at night. So that's why the only endless source of motivation can be intrinsic or come from within. When you enjoy what you're doing, you don't need external rewards to motivate yourself to do it. You feel motivated to do it because you enjoy the process. You don't even care about results that much. And of course, that doesn't mean that you can't have external rewards. If you align intrinsic motivation with your goals, like money, cars, and recognition, you can have an endless source of motivation that no matter how much you achieve and no matter how long it takes for you to achieve, you're not going to lose that drive. But then the question is how to find that intrinsic source of motivation. You see, when we talk about extrinsic motivation, we usually talk about setting goals. But when we talk about intrinsic motivation, we usually talk about the vision. And it might sound like it's not that big of a difference, but actually the power of vision can pull through the hardest challenges in life. And the reason it's so powerful is because vision is a three-dimensional image. You can see it as a movie in your mind. Not only it has a visual component, it also has an auditory component. And most importantly, it has an emotional component, which is what really makes you get up early and stay up late. So how can you create a powerful vision? Well, you have to find what you believe is best for the world. Ask yourself, what do you believe is important and meaningful in the world? What kind of change do you want to see in the world? And here, you have to be super specific and avoid general things like, I want world peace, or I want to end global warming. And I'm not saying that global warming is a bad cause. I'm saying that the cause that you want to pursue has to be personal and super specific. In what specific and concrete way do you want to see change in the world? It doesn't need to be a huge change on a global scale. Maybe you believe in good food and you see that there's no good restaurant in your neighborhood, so you decide to open your own. If you want to know more about how to create this unstoppable motivation with the power of vision, subscribe to this channel because I'm going to talk about it in the future videos.